First, we're going to go straight to the US, which has joined the growing list of countries to ground Boeing's 737 MAX jet in the wake of the Ethiopian Airlines disaster, which killed 157 people. The grounding has been announced this morning by President Donald Trump. It comes after days of resistance from US safety administrators.
A few hours earlier, Canada also joined nations across Europe, Asia, the Middle East and Australia in closing its airspace to the 737 MAX. We'll have the latest from Washington in just a moment. But first, here's that announcement overnight from Donald Trump.
If they're the 737 MAX, will be grounded upon landing at the destination. Pilots have been notified. Airlines have been all notified. Airlines are agreeing with this. The safety of the American people and all people is our paramount concern. Our hearts go out to all of those who lost loved ones, to their friends, to their families in both the Ethiopian and the Lion Airlines crashes.
With more, let's go to our North America correspondent Zoe Daniel, who joins us from Washington. Zoe, this is a huge story on several levels. Huge in the fact that just a couple of days ago, over the last couple of days, Boeing and the US aviation authorities there have been insisting this plane was perfectly safe.
Yes, better late than never, perhaps, Michael. And it is weird, isn't it, given that Boeing is a US company, but perhaps that goes to the heart of it. The FAA, the Trump administration, and indeed the company have been under a lot of pressure over this because they chose not to ground these aircraft, which are being flown by a couple of major US carriers, American and Southwest specifically. Concerns had been thrown up that the authorities were protecting the profits of Boeing over the safety of passengers. There's been a lot of consumer conversation around this. The fact that Boeing has a very strong lobbying arm present here in Washington that makes donations on both sides of politics, that there are indeed members of the Trump administration, notably the acting Secretary of Defense, Patrick Shanahan, who was a Boeing executive for 30 years. So all of these things coming into play, Michael, with people asking, well, how come the rest of the world has banned this aircraft from its airspace and the United States hasn't? Today, Donald Trump, with what appears to be an executive call after yesterday, raising his own personal concerns about the fast development of modern planes, today coming out briefly saying, OK, they're all grounded right now. And we are seeing vision as we speak, Michael, of planes that were physically in the air when that announcement was made. They were allowed to travel on and are now landing and being grounded at their destinations. OK,
and you can imagine the chaos that is unfolding and is about to unfold at US airports right across the country.
Indeed, particularly the hubs for those carriers. So Southwest, for example, has 34 of the MAX 8, and there are concerns, for example, at bases like Phoenix that people will experience serious delays. That said, Michael, while Boeing has about 5,000 of these planes on order, only 371 of them were in circulation worldwide. So really, in the context of the US aviation industry, which is massive, it's a fairly small impact, but no doubt for those passengers in those airports today, it will be hugely frustrating and quite disruptive, at least temporarily. And then, of course, those planes will be grounded, as the FAA says, until investigations yield up some reasons for that Ethiopian Airlines crash over the weekend. And important to note, Michael, that the FAA saying the reason this ban was implemented today was because of new evidence from the site and also new satellite data that has revealed things about that crash that gave rise to authorities implementing this ban.